And now, On The Go Media proudly presents Between the Ropes.
Welcome back to Between the Ropes. I'm Hunter Dietz. This is Colt Powers, and as you can see on the screen, for those of you watching on YouTube, this topic today, very near and dear to me. The wrestling event I have watched more than anything else by far, WrestleMania 22. Big time, Chicago, Illinois, April 2nd, 2006. Colt, tell us a little bit about this. You were at this event.
This was actually my honeymoon.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we were married in October, but I always said I wanted to go to WrestleMania, so my wife said, we'll use that for our honeymoon. So that was our honeymoon. That was our big trip for,
Wow.
Yeah, that was near and dear to me as far as,
I'm sure.
I kind of forgot about her. I was more.
Yeah. Well, and how could you not? Because this is such a great card, and I'm terribly envious that I was not old enough to go to WrestleMania at this time. This was coming up on 20 years ago now. That'll be 20 years ago in April. And like I said, one of the most important WrestleManias and wrestling events for me in my fandom. I grew up watching this like nobody's business. This is the third and, as of right now, the last WrestleMania that took place in Chicago. The first two being the second part of WrestleMania 2 and WrestleMania 13, both taking place there. WrestleMania 2 not so good. WrestleMania 13 okay. This show, though, this show's great.
It's one of my favorite WrestleManias for obvious reasons. Like I said, it was our honeymoon. It was the first WrestleMania I was able to go to, and most of the time I didn't go to WrestleManias a lot because they weren't close enough for me.
Sure.
And so you look at the travel, you look at the cost of traveling, hotel, tickets and stuff, and now I look at it literally right now, and tickets are absurd. So I feel very, very lucky that I was able to go to 22. And I look at those ticket prices now, and it's like that was nothing compared to what they're charging today. So
absolutely great things to point out there about the ticket prices, because they have a great attendance at the Allstate Arena here in Rosemont. 17,155 in the building, a buy rate of 975,000 on pay-per-view. And as we start to get into WrestleMania, I just want to point out this poster for WrestleMania 22 might be the most misleading thing. John Cena and Booker T is not on the card.
100%. That's
the poster is John Cena giving a running bulldog to Booker T from No Mercy the year 2 years before, actually, at No Mercy 2004. I don't know why this is.
I don't understand the poster. They actually had, I think, a series of them, but this was the main, I believe, the main poster.
This is the main poster. It's like very strange.
I don't understand why. I mean, John Cena, obviously, and I got no problem with Booker T, but them together, it's like that had nothing to do with each other.
Very misleading about what you're about to see in this show.
Yes, absolutely.
And so as we get into this, I just want to give a shout out to this guy you see on screen right now. This is the only picture of him I could find on the website, but some of the pictures that we have available throughout this are from the arena, and they are thanks to this guy and his blog. And I'm calling him this guy because he does not have a name on his blog. He just uploaded a bunch of pictures, and this is the only one I could find of him. And,
okay.
So shout out to that guy and whatever he's doing pre-WrestleMania. But I kind of want to set the scene for you, Colt. If you can see that picture there, that's from the Allstate Arena parking lot. WrestleMania 22 going big time. You were there, like we said, and how long are the lines for a WrestleMania? Are you waiting a long time to get in?
It wasn't as long as you would think. And obviously you already have your seats. So it's not like, it's a mad rush in to get those front row seats. but no, it wasn't super long lines. It wasn't. They had a tent set up. That's mostly where the line was. If I remember right, they had a tent set up that I think they had some people doing some signings. And if you've been to the Allstate Arena, it's a very large parking lot. So it's not like you really even have a hard time parking anywhere. I think if I remember right, that day we were just waiting out in the car just till doors open and we could go and get in. So
yeah, very interesting. And as we come into the arena here, before the actual pay-per-view starts, there was a dark match, an 18-man over-the-top rope inter-promotional battle royal. If that's not a mouthful, I don't know what is. And in the Battle Royal, Viscera wins by eliminating Snitsky. The time of this Battle Royal, just over 6 minutes, 6 minutes, 9 seconds. And the other participants in the Battle Royal, people you won't be seeing on the rest of the show, Simon Dean, Rob Conway, Funaki, Lance Cade, Steven Richards, Matt Stryker, Super Crazy, Gold Dust, William Regal, Eugene, Trevor Murdoch, Psychosis, Johnny Nitro, Joey Mercury, Tyson Tomko, and the Road Warrior Animal. Do you think any of those guys should have made it on the main card?
For the card that we have, no. I mean, I'm a William Regal fan anyway. I think he's solid. Sure. For the card that we have, no. I mean, I really don't think there was anybody else that, you kind of wonder, should I swap somebody? Should I, like I said, Gold Dust, he's a bigger name anyway, but there really wasn't a spot for him, I don't feel like. And like I said, Regal, strictly because I like him, and I would have had him in a higher spot. But having the 18-man battle royal, that allowed more people to be able to participate in WrestleMania. Back in the day, we only had one day at WrestleMania.
I can only imagine. I think if you were going to put Regal anywhere on the card, the Money in the Bank ladder match could have been an interesting spot for him. I wouldn't necessarily take anyone out, but I think it would be interesting to see him in a Money in the Bank ladder match.
To see him in a ladder match, because I don't think he's going to take too many high-risk bumps.
Well, we would have said the same about Ric Flair, but as we see later on in the show, Ric Flair takes a back bump from 15 feet in the air. So
Flair's a whole nother.
Flair's something else. Yeah. That's for sure. That's for sure. And so as we're moving on, now we get into the actual part of the show. We start off, Michelle Williams, Destiny's Child, does America the Beautiful. And great rendition here. We've had some real stinkers in WrestleMania past, but this year I think was a good time.
It was good, solid.
Yep, she was good, and she's from Chicago. So kind of sets the stage for that. We get through the video packages, and then we are on to our opening matchup for the World Tag Team Championships. Kane and The Big Show take on Carlito and Chris Masters.
Yep.
Looking at this time, Kane and The Big Show are the tag team champions, taking on Carlito and Chris Masters. Is this too soon to put Carlito and Masters in the opening match of WrestleMania?
I feel like this is probably before they felt like the opening match. You got to start off with something strong, and we've figured that out obviously in our matches today.
Yeah.
Kane and Show are definitely a show opener. Carlito, although entertaining, Masters entertaining, but I don't feel like they're show openers. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I don't.
Sure.
I don't feel like they're again, not knocking them, but because I like their work, I just don't feel like they were at that level.
Well, and I think if for no other reason, this cool entrance with Kane and The Big Show where the buildings are on fire.
Oh,
I mean, this is a great WrestleMania stage, and then to have the buildings on fire, kind of similar to what Kane had at WrestleMania 20. That's a pretty cool entrance for them to get. And Chris Masters gets his whole 3-minute masterpiece entrance and all that. So that's really fun. That's exciting. But really, this is kind of a forgettable match. Goes just over 6 minutes at 6:42. And obviously, Big Show and Kane retain their tag team championships. Kane gets put in the master lock, but Big Show breaks it up with a big boot. No one's still broken the master lock at this point, so we protect the move.
Yep.
But like I said, Kane does pin Carlito, and then afterwards, Carlito and Masters kind of get into a bit of a tiff and seemingly start to part ways there at WrestleMania.
Because you got to start that new, this is the beginning and ending of.
That's right. That's right. And do you think who could dethrone Kane and the Big Show? I mean, obviously, they're going to hold these straps for a long time. The next night on Raw, they lose them to the Spirit Squad.
Yeah.
Is that a booking decision you agree with?
No. No.
Was just curious.
No, yeah.
Not a terribly exciting match, but we do get to see, as JR calls them, the monsters of the Midway perform. And so after that, we move on to the Money in the Bank ladder match. Very weird lineup for this. Rob Van Dam, Shelton Benjamin, Ric Flair, Finlay, Bobby Lashley, and Matt Hardy. 3 guys from Raw, 3 guys from SmackDown, all vying for the Money in the Bank briefcase. And in case anyone doesn't know, could you please quickly explain what the Money in the Bank briefcase does?
The Money in the Bank briefcase, whoever obtains this, they secure their future title shot.
Yes.
And you can use it at any time, and it typically is used at their most opportune times when their champion happens to be at maybe their worst.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it's a great gimmick, because it throws a wrench into a lot of things, and it's fun. It can be a lot of fun.
It's very fun, especially around this time. This is only the second Money in the Bank ladder match. Earlier this year in January at New Year's Revolution, John Cena goes all the way over an hour through the Elimination Chamber defending his title, and Edge cashes in the Money in the Bank for the first time, which will set up some matches later on in the card, kind of building that road to WrestleMania 22. And you've got to wonder, coming into this match, who's going to replicate that this year. But they do go a different route. I mean, there's a lot of interesting spots in this. Rob Van Dam with the Van Daminator from the top rope, taking Bobby Lashley off of the ladder. Shelton Benjamin, huge dives to the outside.
Usually a spot reserved for Jeff Hardy.
Absolutely, who's not with the company at this time.
Correct. We've got Matt, but and I want to say I love Shelton Benjamin. I would love to see him higher on a card anywhere, right? I mean, I think he is one hell of a performer.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And there's some more interesting spots in this, like we mentioned earlier. Ric Flair getting suplexed off the top of the ladder by Matt Hardy.
And who puts Flair in a ladder? I mean, come on.
Who puts Flair in a ladder? They stretcher him off, and then Flair...
For good reason.
Flair comes back, and he starts climbing the ladder again. Could Flair get his 17th World Championship? But Finlay has his shillelagh, and he hits Flair between the eyes, and Flair falls, and that's kind of the last we see of him for the match. But Rob Van Dam ultimately wins the Money in the Bank ladder match, and after this, he doesn't do the traditional, well, I guess it's not traditional at this point, everything's kind of new still, but he doesn't do what Edge did, where he cashes in on an unsuspecting victim.
Right.
He announces his championship opportunity at One Night Stand 2006, ECW, big show at the Hammerstein Ballroom, and he challenges John Cena for the title, eventually wins it, thanks to a little bit of help from Edge. What do you think of this whole RVD becoming Mr. Money in the Bank, and then winning the title from John Cena later that year?
I like it. Again, RVD, I think, was a main event player. The actual, Bobby Lashley, even Finlay, I think he's got a solid work ethic. He's got a solid. I don't feel like he has the fan following. So, but obviously Flair, Shelton Benjamin could have been almost any one of these guys. But RVD at that time, I think he just had the momentum and the fans behind him that he was a good choice to be able to put in that position.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
And I think they were probably looking ahead.
I'm sure.
You know what I mean? They're planning this stuff out.
I'm sure. And as we kind of go on in the year, we know that Rob doesn't hold the title for very long. There's a wellness policy violation, and it winds up kind of getting schmozzed back to Cena and Edge for the rest of the year, and Rob really never gets that chance again in the WWE. But for a moment in time, this is really cool and really special and kind of out of the ordinary for maybe what you would have expected going into this match.
Yep.
Moving forward, the United States Championship, Chris Benoit, the United States Champion, defends against JBL. John,
Can we talk about this?
I think we have to.
Does this match exist?
I think it does.
Oh, okay.
John Bradshaw Layfield with Jillian Hall challenging for the U.S. title.
Did she still have the growth on her face at this point? I can't remember.
I don't think she did yet. I think that's later in the year.
Okay.
But I do remember that.
We're going back dang near 20 years here.
I know,
forget a lot of stuff.
It's difficult. It's difficult. And I'm sure there's some stuff on this card we'd like to forget. But this is a really intense match, really interesting stuff here. JBL, as you can see in this picture here, still wearing the cowboy hat. Down to his trunks, still wearing the hat.
Yep.
As the champion Chris Benoit comes in. Traditional kind of hijinks. This match goes 9 minutes, 48 seconds, and Chris Benoit winds up not winning. Everyone thinks going into this, Eddie Guerrero has passed away in 2005 in November, and that affects this show a lot in a lot of ways throughout the card. Eddie was originally supposed to be in the World Heavyweight title spot against Michaels, and Chris and Eddie obviously were very close, and so I think a lot of people thought coming into this maybe Chris was going to get the win for Eddie. JBL mocks Eddie the entire match and then wins with a roll-up afterwards, and unfortunately that's just kind of what happens with a guy like JBL.
And JBL, he is such a good heel. He plays the asshole so well. There was a lot of times where he really made you want to hate him.
Yeah.
And he's so good at it. And your dad and I, we a lot of times will root for the heel. We'll root for the guy that, isn't necessarily the one that's, everybody's behind. But JBL is another one. And I like Chris Benoit, and I love his work that he did. Obviously not what he's done,
sure,
afterwards.
Sure.
But his in-ring work was so good. JBL, so good as well. And
well, after this match, JR gets a little bit of a break because we're introducing a different play-by-play commentator for the hardcore match. Jerry Lawler will stay at the booth, but Joey Styles comes in, the voice of ECW, to call this hardcore match between Edge and Mick Foley. This is more of what we were talking about before with Edge kind of having this cocky, pompous attitude, winning the title off of Money in the Bank. He has a rematch with John Cena where Mick Foley's the special guest referee, and Edge feels that Mick counted fast. And so that leads to this match between Edge and Mick at WrestleMania. Edge feels he should still be the champion. John Cena has moved on to facing Triple H later on in the night, and Foley rejects Edge's offer for a wrestling match, but instead challenges him to a match where there are no rules, no disqualifications, and there are no excuses.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about this match between Edge and Mick Foley?
Honestly, from that night, this is one of my favorite. A lot of it because I was there, but Edge, obviously a singles competitor, huge tag team competitor, singles competitor. I felt like this is one of those matches that helped solidify Edge as a true player, though. And it's one of my favorite Edge matches and one of my favorite Mick Foley matches. Just like I said, because I was there, it's special, but also I really feel like it solidified Edge as that main singles, main event singles guy. And I just, much like Mick Foley solidified Triple H at the Royal Rumble in their hardcore match, I think that did the same for Edge. Although, like I said, he was already a singles guy, and he was, but it did so much for him. And it is one of my favorites from that night.
Well, and there's some interesting little things about this match that, after watching it a few different times, you start to pick up on. One of which obviously you noticed the first time around, Foley comes out in a darker flannel than traditional, wearing this black and white flannel instead of his usual red and black. And in true Mick Foley fashion, that's not the only flannel he's wearing.
Right.
He winds up revealing that he's actually wearing the red and black underneath. Edge and Foley have some incredibly hardcore spots in this. As you can see on screen there, Edge in the Tree of Woe getting an elbow drop from Foley. But you can see lighter fluid comes into it, barbed wire comes into it, chairs, cookie sheets, all sorts of crazy, ridiculous stuff, steel steps, thumbtacks. Is there anything this match was missing?
Maybe a kitchen sink.
That's about it.
But that's about it.
That's about
it. And this one, I feel like it's a good demonstration of the proper way to use lighter fluid. Because they let it burn for a few seconds before they went through it.
Instead of doing this garbage where we light it, we go through immediately, and now everybody's on fire.
And now you're soaked in lighter fluid because you did not allow it to burn enough. So anybody watching this that does that stupid backyard wrestling crap, take a note that you're supposed to let it burn for a few minutes, okay? Let's think about that a little bit.
Yes, please think about that next time you decide to set yourself on fire. In the end, obviously, Foley pulls out a table, and Edge thinks he's going to put Foley through it, but he rolls off. There's some more hardcore spots. Edge winds up with thumbtacks in his back. Foley is standing on the edge of the apron, and as you see in this picture, Lita's got the lighter fluid bottle after hitting Foley between the legs with a barbed wire baseball bat. She then douses the table in lighter fluid, lights it on fire, and we get one of the coolest spectacles in WrestleMania history as Edge spears Mick Foley through the flaming table. You were there in the arena. How did the crowd react to this live?
It was a, ooh, and everybody, it was in unison, and the chills and everything that you had, the feeling in the arena, it's so hard to replicate that. And yeah, it was oh my God, he is dead.
He has to be, right? And obviously it's Falls Count Anywhere. Edge pins Foley on the outside for the 1, 2, 3, and Edge beats Mick Foley in what I view as Foley's actual retirement match. I know that he had a couple before. I know that he had a couple after. This was Foley's perfect retirement. This
could have been the quintessential, let's put the cap on it and call it a career.
And they never used fire before this. I don't think, right, in the WWE.
Oh, you'd have to. We'd have to do a little research on
I
that.
I don't think they did. It doesn't seem like
wait. Fire in what?
Well, like a flaming table spot. Like there was the Inferno match, obviously, but
I was gonna say I don't know. I mean, that might be a Dudley question.
I guess I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
But obviously, an Insane Spectacle had never happened before at WrestleMania. Has never happened since at WrestleMania.
But it should be used for big spots like this.
Exactly.
Make it special.
Exactly. And I'm not saying that they should bring it back anytime soon. I'm just saying it was a product of its time, and it was perfect for the time that it was a part of.
There has to be a reason for it to make it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so how do you follow up a match like that? Where, as you can see, Mick Foley and Edge badly burned and beaten, thumbtacks and broken table pieces. You follow it up with Booker T and Sharmell versus the Boogeyman in an intergender handicap match.
You got nothing.
Got nothing for this one?
I got nothing. The Boogeyman is entertaining, don't get me wrong. But to me, he's like... the White Six, maybe-ish. I mean, it's so hard. He's a yesteryear character. I like the idea of the guy.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, maybe for when they had WWE films, he fit better. I don't know. It's just one of those weird, you know, like I said, the Wyatt Six, some of that stuff. It's so hard to translate to a live matchup and make you. I don't know. Good gimmick for kids.
Well, is it? I don't know. I was terrified of the Boogeyman.
Well, that's the whole that's the whole thing.
But he never went anywhere.
No, I know
And then he had the little midget Boogeyman that was with him.
I forgot about him.
Yeah. So I can recap this entire match basically move for move because it's so short. The bell rings. Booker tags in Sharmell. Sharmell is scared. She walks towards. She tries to walk away from the Boogeyman. He goes after her, and Booker attacks the Boogeyman from behind. Tags Sharmell out, and the Boogeyman beats up Booker T. And Sharmell tries to get Boogeyman from behind, and winds up, as you're about to see in this picture here, being kissed with a mouthful of worms from the Boogeyman. And those are real worms. Those aren't props. Those are real worms.
And the fact that he eats worms.
The guy ate worms.
A steady diet of them too.
Steady diet of worms. A lot of worms.
On
worms
all the
for this
shows.
And I always thought Boogeyman's finish was interesting too. The two-handed falling choke bomb. That's what he hits Booker with, and he pins him, and then he does the worms in the mouth, and Sharmell runs off screaming. 3 minutes, it's whatever. It's a goofy.
It's not even enough time really to, you think it's one of those matches because we just had Edge and Foley, so you're like, oh, this is the time where I'm going to go to the bathroom. So it's time for a bathroom break. It's not even enough for that. Personally, like I said, Boogeyman's okay in the sense, great for a comic, great for if they did a movie or something. I don't feel like he translates the best. He wasn't one of my favorites, and it's not a knock on the guy. It's just he wasn't one of my favorites. I feel bad that that's what Edge had to deal with for a WrestleMania match. It's like Booker T is to me bigger than that.
Well, this winds up being Booker T's last WrestleMania match. Or no, he was in the Money in the Bank the next year, and then that was his last WrestleMania match until, I think he did something at WrestleMania 28. Was he part of the Team Johnny, Team Teddy thing?
Might have been. I can't remember. We're talking a lot of years here.
I know. We're jumping all over the place.
And I've been hitting the head a lot.
Yeah, sure. You've taken your fair share of bumps. Now, usually, and this isn't meant to be offensive, it's just what is true. During this period, the bathroom break of the shows was the women's match. It just was because that's the way it was booked. And that is not the case with the women's championship match on this show. Trish Stratus and Mickie James in an incredibly interesting story. Mickie debuting just a few months before, having this stalker crush on Trish, wanting to do anything she can. My next obsession is your destruction. What a crazy line. Mickie makes her WrestleMania debut against Trish. The match goes 8 minutes, 48 seconds, and she hits a Mick kick on Trish to win the women's championship. The crowd cheers in Chicago.
Yeah.
Mickey's a psychotic heel. The crowd cheers.
And Chicago's, I think they've always said that Chicago's usually a backwards kind of town. They'll cheer the heel. They'll cheer. So this one, I'm going to say I'm a guy. I love Trish. I love Mickie James. I love Lita. And that, when I was able to meet Trish, I was, is it starstruck? Because I sitting there.
That's the word you should probably use.
Stumbling over my words, couldn't get anything out. It's like, yeah, Trish. I absolutely love Trish Stratus, and to watch this match. So when you say that, at that time, that was kind of the way the women were booked. Trish, and especially Trish and Lita, and I will say Mickie James, they were not a part of that group because I don't feel like they were ones that you were like, I don't want to miss this match. They were ahead of their time. If they worked today, with like Charlotte and stuff, they were the innovators of this.
Sure.
But they would fit in so well, and we would see more female main events, I think, if we had Trish and Lita leading the pack and Mickie leading the pack right now.
Absolutely, I can agree with that. So yeah, Mickie gets cheered throughout this match. Trish does get some offense in, but really, it's Mickie's night, and this is just an insane come around for her. Like we said, this being her first WrestleMania match, and so it's unfortunate that Mickie didn't really go a lot farther in WWE after this.
Right.
But she does wind up going and helping to pioneer the Knockouts division in TNA.
100%.
And so her impact on women's wrestling cannot be understated.
No. And now I think she's doing country music, I think.
I think so.
And
yeah, I think I heard about that.
She's with
Nick Aldis.
Nick Aldis.
Yes, husband and wife in
So-
holy matrimony. Yes.
Lucky son of a gun.
Yeah, something. Yeah. The next match, though, probably didn't have you feeling quite the same way you felt about Trish Stratus, because this is two monsters. You want to talk about monsters, these guys. The Undertaker and Mark Henry in a casket match.
Yep.
People give this match a lot of grief, but I personally really like it, because the whole... Yes, The Undertaker was having a feud with Kurt Angle that probably could have been supplemented here.
Yeah.
But the whole idea of The Undertaker has this streak. He has to get a 400-pound world's strongest man into a casket and close the lid. That's an insane premise. And I think they pulled it off really well. What do you think?
I think they pulled it off well. For one, this is another one of those matches... Not necessarily for the match itself, but for one, to be in that arena, and when Undertaker makes his entrance, when he's there, I mean, your hair stands on end. When the legend, the phenom, the Undertaker enters the arena, everything stands on end, and it's just like, oh my God, it is such a feeling. And I didn't care if he was the American Badass, you got the same feeling. Whether he was, the Phenom, you had that same feeling. When he enters a room, your hair stands on end. It is just, you are in the presence of, legend. And likewise, Mark Henry, I love Mark Henry for the fact that he is world's strongest man. And I've watched his lifting competitions and the things that man has done, and me being a weightlifter and stuff, that dude is phenomenal. He is a beast.
Well, and another interesting thing about this is in this match, I mean, The Undertaker is starting. He's been in the business for a long time at this point, but he's starting the best part of his career in 2006.
Yep.
This run, he's coming off of the feud with Randy Orton from the year before,
which was an amazing run.
Amazing. And now, like you see in this picture, the Undertaker's doing a suicide dive over the casket to Mark Henry.
Yeah.
Another part of this match I think is really interesting. They had to build an how did they phrase it? Like a double wide coffin because Mark Henry was so big.
Yep.
The Undertaker able to get Mark Henry up for a tombstone and bringing him back down. I mean, he's legitimately a 400-pound man. He's big. It's all muscle. It's no, that's dead weight.
Well, and he's, that big of a man. I mean, that also demonstrates Taker's strength and also his care of his opponent. The man behind Taker, Mark Calloway, and showing, that he's not going to do something if he can't take care of his opponent.
Absolutely.
And he knows at this stage, Mark Henry's a big boy, but he still takes care of his, like I said, the man behind behind Undertaker.
He is, absolutely. And so obviously the streak goes on to 14-0. The Undertaker pushes Mark Henry into that big purple casket. I like the look of that casket.
Oh,
too.
yeah. That's
a lot of fun. And another thing to point out, because the casket's here, the Druids come out.
Yes.
We don't get to see the Druids very often.
No, and that is another one where your hair stands on ends and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. So a lot of fun with that. Mark Henry gets put in the casket. He loses. The Undertaker goes on to 14-0. Really fun time here with the Undertaker and Mark Henry. But the next match, even more fun. I can't say enough good about this. Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon, no holds barred. Give me a little bit about this feud.
Obviously, Shawn and Vince, they've had a long, and I'll say storied history. Not unlike, but not the same as Stone Cold and Vince. You know, everything in Shawn's first run of, he had some, we'll say, substance issues.
Yeah.
And he was a young man at the time. He had an attitude, and he liked to buck authority, which that's not unlike a lot of us, and it's not unlike me still to this day, as your dad knows.
Yeah.
But you know, having that transition into who he became after he had his sabbatical with, you know, healing his back, finding a new path, and, you know, finding Christ. And so the dynamic of Shawn, who he was, and Shawn, who he is now today, I think it was just, it all added and made it very interesting, him taking on Mr. McMahon, Vince.
Well, and there's a lot of interesting build-up in the story for this match. Shawn is kind of just minding his own business, and Vince is getting progressively more and more crazy at the end of 2005, beginning of 2006. And he wants Michaels to do a drug test.
Yep.
And Shawn throws the urine cup back in his face, and so, okay, we're starting to see a little bit of the old Shawn Michaels here. Yep. Vince keeps hunkering down on this. You know, he walks into a church and proclaims McMahonism and all this sort of stuff, and horrible stuff, truly. But
I don't think it's nearly as bad as Vicky. Vince didn't do anything as bad as that one.
Well. Be that as it may, Vince starts to see that Shawn does have God on his side. Like when he says, you know, if I'm doing anything wrong, you know, God strike me down, and he gets struck down with the pyro, and things just are not going Vince's way.
Nope.
And so he challenges Michaels to a match at WrestleMania, no holds barred, and it is amazing. He comes out, he's on the cover of Muscle and Fitness magazine. Shawn puts his head through the Muscle and Fitness magazine cover.
Yeah, because I think, was that the year Vince turned 60?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the year he turned 60. And, you know, for Vince's age, my God, that man, he took care of himself. I mean, Triple H always made the comment that he had the work ethic, and then he'd be training late at night or early in the morning, and he, you know, Vince took care of himself, and he was, honestly, he was a beast. I actually still have this cover of Muscle and Fitness, and yeah, Vince was, just an absolute unit.
Yeah, it's almost disturbing how jacked he is at that age.
That's
the veins popping.
You know, you kind of wonder, is there a little extra special sports supplement? You know, you gotta wonder.
Gotta wonder. The New Jersey board wasn't on his case anymore, so you kind of wonder. But absolutely astonishing match. The Spirit Squad, of course, comes out to interfere.
Of course.
Like they had been doing. The Spirit Squad are Vince's hired cheerleaders, male cheerleaders, to protect him against the evils of Shawn Michaels, and then later in the year, DX, when they reunite. And we do get that teased here.
Yes.
Michaels does the crotch chop and the suck it. Triple H, during his match later in the night, also does the crotch chop.
There was the tease to, you know, the what could be coming, the foretelling there.
And so you would think with Vince and Shane and all 5 members of the Spirit Squad interfering in this match, that's 7-on-1. Obviously, Shawn's not going to hold a chance. None of them held a chance.
Yeah.
I don't think Vince gets more than like 2 moves of offense in this entire match.
No.
This is a brutal match on Vince, and a ton of fun. And obviously, the most iconic shot for about 5 minutes, Michaels is just pulling out and putting away ladders, looking for the tallest one.
Looking for the top. And it was, again, in the arena, it's like, oh my God. And so quick backstory to my day there. Because it was our honeymoon stuff and we were just starting out as a couple, we took the tickets that were available, and we purchased, we were pretty high up in the arena, but still amazing to be there. There came a spot where, right at the beginning of the night, there were some kids next to us, and we had a couple of them approach us that weren't sitting there, and they said, hey, we really just want to sit with our friends. We just want to be here. Would you trade seats with us? And I'm like, where are your seats at? And lo and behold, they're down in the lower level. So when Shawn got up on his ladder, I was about eye level with Shawn.
Wow.
When he was up on his ladder, and it put us directly in the center of the ring. You couldn't ask for better seats. So
wow.
We ended up trading with these guys, and we got about perfect seats. Because like I said, we were with the ring, you were just about eye level with Shawn. There wasn't anything really in front of you and we were on the side of the camera. So whenever they did something, they were looking at us, and it was, the seating was great. But yeah, when he got up on that ladder, you're like, oh, hi, Shawn.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I've never heard that before. That's awesome. But obviously, Vince is on the table here. Shane is handcuffed to the ropes and is forced to watch his father get put through a table. The Spirit Squad is dead on the outside somewhere. Vince is bleeding profusely and has a garbage can on his head, and he gets put through the table off a 20-foot ladder, as JR says, and I don't think it was 20 feet. I think it was.
I don't think they make a 20-foot ladder like that.
I don't think so. I think,
but
10 maybe.
15. I guess if you add sea level and
yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you add sea level, he's well above 20 feet. So obviously Shawn wins that match, a great match, one of the most memorable from the event.
Absolutely.
And this gives way to, like we said earlier, the Spirit Squad win the tag titles the next night from Kane and the Big Show. Shawn and Triple H reunite and reform DX, and they make the McMahons' lives a living hell. That's fun. And really just kicking off one of my favorite times in wrestling with this match. But I do want to take a moment to just talk a little bit about the Hall of Fame, because this is the point where on the DVD you have to switch discs.
Yes.
And so one of those discs, disc 3 is the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame class for this year: Mean Gene Okerlund, Sensational Sherry Martel, Tony Atlas, Vern Gagne, William the Refrigerator Perry, and the Blackjacks, along with Eddie Guerrero, who, like we said, passed away in November of 2005, accepted by Vicky Guerrero and Eddie's nephew Chavo. Bret Hart was the headliner, but he didn't appear at WrestleMania due to a prior commitment. They said on air that he was uncomfortable being there. I think that's a Vince line. Bret has said previously that he told Vince that he had a con he had to be at or something. I don't know. It's WrestleMania. You got put in the Hall of Fame. You can't be there, really?
That was I think he didn't want it, because this was prior to him and Shawn making up.
Yeah.
But we've seen some stuff here lately. Recently, Bret Hart did a signing, and there was a send-in to it. He will not sign anything if Shawn has his signature on it.
He's just a miserable, miserable man.
I don't understand. I can understand that, things may not have gone your way, whatever, and
Sure.
There's a lot of history, but allegedly these guys they've made up.
I don't know.
I don't know, but he supposedly hates Triple H, but yet he's backstage at Raw in Canada and at Montreal, and him and Hunter were shaking hands and kind of talking.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like Brett's hit an age where maybe he's not right in the
don't
head.
know.
I don't know. But that night I was disappointed not to be able to see Bret that night. At that time in my life, I still loved Bret Hart. I had T-shirts, I had sweatshirts.
Sure.
I don't have that anymore.
Yeah. Well, and that is a shame. But as we move on to disc 2 in my memory, the World Heavyweight Championship is up next. Triple threat match. This is one of the most convoluted storylines to get to the end result. Before I hear what you think, let me give you my thoughts on it. So Rey Mysterio wins the Royal Rumble from the number 2 spot.
Yep.
He wins for Eddie. He comes out in the lowrider and everything. He wins for Eddie, and that's all fine and well. The last person he eliminates is Randy Orton.
Yep.
Randy Orton then says, Eddie's not up there in heaven. Eddie's in hell. Kind of a tasteless line. Randy said he didn't want to say it. Bruce has said it was a bad idea. But, okay, all right.
If I remember right, there's even a little interview with him, a recent interview about how he did not want to do that.
I think so. So anyway, how do you reconcile this? Well, at No Way Out, Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio have a match to determine who's going to face Kurt Angle. Randy Orton wins. And Teddy Long on SmackDown says, yeah, well, Rey Mysterio's in it anyway. Okay, all right. So I don't understand. Like, why couldn't we just add Randy Orton to the match? This is super convoluted. And Kurt Angle, this is my favorite look and appearance for Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
The black mouth guard, the remix of the song that restarts 3 times, the pyro, the big gold belt. He comes out with the straps down.
Yep.
I mean, this is my Kurt Angle right here. And he is getting very close to leaving the company, we know, because of some personal issues and going to TNA. Kurt comes out. It's great. It's awesome. This match was supposed to get a lot more time than it did get, and the 2 reasons I've heard for that are Shawn and Vince went overtime, and Ray's entrance took way longer than it should have.
Well, he started off on the top of the buildings.
He started off on the top of the
buildings. Which was really cool because he was with POD.
He's with POD.
That was awesome, but it's like, and he had the big headdress, and I mean, it was a phenomenal entrance, but
yeah,
you had to cut so much.
Yeah, it's a shame, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, they go for 9 minutes 19 seconds, and pretty good match. My biggest problem with it is that Ray won. I get it. I understand it's for Eddie. I understand Eddie was going to win the world title at WrestleMania. I understand all that. But Kurt being world champion looks good, makes sense. Randy has already been the world champion, looks good, makes sense. Rey Mysterio, the face of the Cruiserweight division, is the world heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
What are we thinking?
What they're thinking at the time, I mean, it has to be completely Eddie. That is not taking away from Ray and his talents.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I just, like you said, cruiserweight. Now, Ray has done a good job of bulking up and getting to a point where he looks like he should be a heavyweight now. He's bulked up and he looks really good. But I agree. At the time, I sat there in the arena because of the emotional attachment with Ray and Eddie. It was, oh, this is so great. But with how did Kurt or Randy not win this? Now, you also got to think, okay, are they going to throw us the curveball? Because in all honesty, regardless, take the Eddie thing in or out, I don't care. Who's sitting there saying Ray's going to win? Who's saying that? Nobody is saying that. So it's a surprise. I mean, it is definitely a curveball, swerve, whatever you want to call it, that Ray is going to win this.
Yeah, well, and obviously Ray gets to celebrate with Chavo and Vicky in Eddie's memory. This is just a weird time for me. And then the fact that he loses it to, is it Booker? That he's doing the King Booker thing, and he loses it to him? Or does he lose it?
Booker.
Or is it the Great Khali?
I don't remember.
It's one of the two. And no, I don't think it's the Great Khali. I think that's next year. I don't remember. Anyway, and this is just a weird title reign. It's a weird time. I don't know. I don't like it, but I get it. Great match, though.
Great match. And that's the unfortunate part when we look at the time. Shawn Mr. WrestleMania. I understand, but you're Mr. WrestleMania. He's damn near in the ring with a broomstick, if you want to. I mean, with Vince, I love Vince. I love what he's done for WWE and stuff and WWF. But to go the second longest match on the card, Shawn versus Vince, when this one should have had more time. When you have the talent of Randy, the talent of Kurt, and the talent of Ray, this ended up being a very good match. I enjoy the match, and I do wish we had a little bit longer with it. So,
well, here's something we could have cut to give the world title match a little bit more time. The Playboy pillow fight between Torrie Wilson and Candice Michelle. This is what I'm talking about with the women's matches.
This is 100% what you mean, and the look of them. I mean, I do have the Playboys from Candice and Torrie. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I have those, but I have them from the standpoint that they were in WWE.
Sure.
But yes, this match, I understand the era that we were in, but when you look at the women's division today, and you look at what we had when we had Trish and Lita and Mickie, I mean, it makes you go, how did we have this? And in today's climate, this will not fly.
No.
The pillow match will not fly in today's climate.
No. And I recognize they probably couldn't cut it because it's a Playboy tie-in and there's the sponsorship and they're trying to sell magazines.
100%.
I understand that.
100%.
Then fine. We cut Booker T and the Boogeyman.
And I honestly, I feel more bad for Torrie and Candice that they had to, I think they, if I remember right from their interviews, I think they enjoyed the publicity and being in the magazine and doing that stuff. Mm-hmm. I just, this match is not what showcases their talent.
This match is the one that gets me into trouble when I try to show this show to non-wrestling fans. And I'm trying to make the point. No. See, watch Trish and Mickie. It's
yes.
Women can be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And then I forget about this match, and we get to it, and they look at me. I'm sorry. I
Well,
forgot.
it's like the memes. Is it memes or gifs or gifs or whatever they are? Where when you're alone and watching wrestling, it's this match, but when your folks walk in, it's this, and they go, "Oh my!" That's exactly
every time. Well, and so in 4 minutes, this gets over with. Torrie Wilson wins by rolling up Candice Michelle, and I don't know. Torrie Wilson's dog was there. I guess I don't know. I was more of a fan of Torrie Wilson's dad. Remember Al Wilson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, this one, today's climate, A, this does not fly. B, it does not showcase these ladies' talent when they did have actual matches. Not saying they were not at Lita and Trish and Mickie's level.
No.
But they could do a lot better than that. It was a different era.
It was a different era.
Such a different era. And the crazy thing is that wasn't even the era of Sable.
No.
I mean, there was
we've passed that.
There was a whole nother level to this.
Yeah, that's right. And after this, we move on to the main event, which is John Cena and Triple H for the WWE Championship. Probably one of Cena's best WrestleMania matches. Probably one of Triple H's best WrestleMania matches.
I would agree with that. I think the build to this was great. I actually, when we were sitting in the stands, I told my wife, Triple H is getting a new theme. Because this was the era where we were starting to talk about him being the King of Kings.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, I said, he's getting a new theme. I know it. I feel it because he's got, we went from the game to now it's really pushing this King of Kings. Yeah. And then when Motorhead hits, I'm sitting there going, oh my, to have that feeling in the arena, me being a big Triple H fan, I can't describe the feeling, the hair standing on end. It was such a different.
And very much so. And like you're talking about with Triple H's entrance, you can see here on screen, this is a very special entrance. He's got the graphics going on screen for like the skulls and everything.
Yeah.
He's like this apocalyptic war king.
Conan, the Barbarian-ish, He-Man.
Very interesting.
I think this was the era where he was actually rumored to be He-Man. I think there was a rumor that he was going to be He-Man in a film, and this would have fit that.
That would have just made you lose your mind, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Marked out over that. John Cena, because of Chicago, comes out in the. They've got the gangster car that comes out. The ramp comes up, and CM Punk.
Punk was there.
Right there in Chicago on the side. Nobody knows who he is yet, but he's going to become a pretty big deal in the next couple of years. And they've got this whole gangster thing going. Cena comes out in a trench coat with a Tommy gun and shoots pyro out of the Tommy gun.
Yep.
And then his regular theme starts. A very cool entrance.
It was phenomenal between Triple H and Cena's. Oh my God.
Yeah, really, really cool time here. But, you get into this match and they have a really good match. It goes 22 minutes, 2 seconds. And these guys are everything that they need to be for this time. Certainly deserving of the main event. And in a rarity of this time, Cena actually gets Triple H to tap out.
Yep.
He makes him tap out in the STF, and this is kind of the end, I feel, for Triple H's heel run. Because he's a babyface for the rest of the year, pretty much after this, when DX reunites.
Well, and it was so hard. So not only was it in Chicago where they tend to cheer the heel, but at this era, John Cena was, I will describe it as he was shoved down our throats.
Yeah.
Now, he was the Hulk Hogan of his era, where kids loved him.
Absolutely.
The adults hated him. And I was a kid when Hulk Hogan was coming up, so I did not see that hate. We also didn't have internet and all that kind of crap. But, when Hulk Hogan was there, I was a kid, and I was like, oh my God, it's Hulk Hogan, and you love the guy. Apparently, adults did not always love Hulk Hogan, which I found strange. Now, when I'm there and I'm seeing this, I can understand, you got this guy that you're just constantly shoving down our throats as the greatest ever. Don't get me wrong. I respected John Cena and what he did.
Absolutely.
And he was very good at it.
Yeah.
But I did not. I was a Triple H fan. I was actually at one of the events we were at. We were in the entryway. And this was a house show. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, John faced Triple H. If I'm not, I may be wrong. But it was leading up to WrestleMania, and John was walking by us, and I took a Burger King crown back when they had crowns for Burger King, and I altered it to make it look like Triple H.
That's awesome.
And I went by, I said, Triple H is coming back for his title, and John, he kind of came up to me, and he looked at me, he's looking up and down, and he said, all right. I said, I respect you, but I said, Triple H is taking it back. And he said, I can respect that. He came up to shake my hand, and then he went,
oh.
And I was like, oh, and then I mark out because it's John Cena, and I having an interaction, and it was fun. But,
that's awesome. Awesome.
That was the fun of the house shows, which you guys don't get to see anymore.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, well, they really do need to bring back the house shows because those were a lot of fun. Cena does win here, retaining his title. This is the beginning of the hatred for Cena that lasts for like 15 years.
Look what he did to the belt, though.
Yeah, I know. No,
blasphemy.
I agree. He screwed up the belt. It's
he
wrong.
did.
It's wrong.
Hated that. It's wrong.
It's wrong. It's not right. It's not right that he did that.
Don't get me wrong, I love John Cena. But I hated what he did to that belt.
It was the wrong thing for him to do. But as WrestleMania 22 comes to a close, and we look at 2006 in WWE and this whole time period, Ruthless Aggression era, are there any standouts for you from this WrestleMania and the domino effect that had on that summer or the following years?
I honestly, I think the biggest was that we saw the reformation of DX. Yeah. And it started, it brought back DX. We had a nice high point, but it eventually set things in motion that Shawn was going to retire in a few years. And, but we were able to revisit that. So that for me was the biggest takeaway. it did set up that, we see, not knowing at this time that CM Punk is there, and looking back now, it's like, oh, that's the beginnings of what we're going to see with, Straight Edge. And unfortunately, Kurt not lasting with the company much longer, going to TNA and having a phenomenal run in TNA.
Absolutely.
I feel so bad that WWE fans didn't get to enjoy it unless you tuned into TNA, which I loved Kurt in TNA, what he did with Sting, and Booker T was there, Kevin Nash, and Foley was. I feel like Foley was forgettable there. I don't feel like he had a great run.
No.
In TNA,
No.
So that was that era where they brought in some really good players like Sting, Kurt, and then they brought in everybody, and they went, oh, we've got too big. But that's a whole nother subject with TNA there.
Well, and we do get some interesting debuts on the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania. The Raw after Mania, Umaga makes his debut. Umaga obviously would be a force in the WWE right up to when he passed away unexpectedly a couple of years later. And then we get the Great Khali debuting on SmackDown that same week. So that kind of sets the stage for where the WWE is going to go in terms of who they're looking at for main event talent heading into the summer of 2006 and 2007. Another thing we failed to mention, but I think is interesting, is during this show there's a backstage segment with Randy Orton. Batista comes in the suit, and he says to Randy Orton, it doesn't matter who wins tonight, because whoever it is just holding the title until I come back. And at WrestleMania 23, I will be the World Heavyweight Champion. And come WrestleMania 23, wouldn't you know it, Batista's the World Heavyweight Champion. He predicted it correctly. It's crazy. It's like they script this stuff.
That's weird.
It's wacky.
I can't believe that they would do something like that. Like, I know like NFL and
that's all scripted.
Them are all scripted.
That's
but
all
this,
scripted.
I had no idea.
I'm shocked they would even think to do something like that.
I was shocked, but I mean,
That's awful. But that kind of wraps up our time talking about WrestleMania 22, what is my personal favorite WrestleMania. You had the privilege to be there, and all around just a great show. So we wanted to make sure that we talked about it, and we will be back next week talking about probably something else.
I'm sure, we talked previously about ECW. We've just got to find the right thing to talk about. We got to
find the right thing. That was the problem this week. We didn't really know. It's a broad topic.
It is a broad topic. We want to narrow it down.
We'll narrow it down. We will get there.
We will get to an ECW.
Yeah, we will get there.
We also, I just thought about this. Valentine's Day was a few days ago. We should have talked about St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
See, I thought about that too, but that show sucks. That's not a good show. But
no.
Yes, we'll be back next week with something new to talk about. And
let us know in the comments. Is there something that you want to hear us talk about? Is there a pay-per-view or an era or?
That'd be great if you could help us out.
Yeah, by all means, in the comments. That's what do you want to hear about? We know, pro wrestling. We've got so many things.
We got a ton of knowledge. We got a lot of opinions.
A ton of opinions.
Maybe instead of a recap next week, maybe we'll do an opinion episode.
We can do opinions.
Maybe we'll focus solely on opinions of different things.
Oh boy.
Oh, that could be
that could get dangerous.
That could get very dangerous. All right, for Colt Powers, I've been Hunter Dietz. This has been Between the Ropes, an On the Go Media podcast production.